So, Zach,
So, Hector,
how many people has King Henry stiff armed? And I'm not talking about Derrick Henry. I'm talking about King Henry.
he's already stiff armed one, and that was my wife coming out the womb. But so far, he's just got the one to his name, unless he hits some nurses in the hallway, to and from the nursery.
So
So
I'm guessing Sarah's Josh Norman right now.
she's feeling the hurt. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Down the Tape. We are back. If you haven't seen last Thursday night's live, I pity the fool. But we are we are back from a small vacation, from a small little break there. I am Papa Smurph. Oh God.
I am Drago because for some reason on days that I gotta record, I cannot stay up and last around.
Hector needs whenever we sit down and record, Hector needs an IV bag of Monster just fed intravenously to him, just pure caffeine, Monster made coffee. We're talking like the whole nine. But we are back. We've got a great episode planned for you guys. Hector's going to take us around the world of sports real quick. We'll do some trivia. We're bringing that back to trivia questions. I actually want to talk about the Jets, which is completely shocking. And spoiler alert, I want to talk about Zach Wilson. I am bursting at the seams to talk about this. So we'll talk about the Jets. We'll talk about the Jaguars because there's been big news coming out of that camp recently. So yeah, Hector, why don't you kick us off and take us around the world of sports, brother?
So with around the world of sports, I want to shoot off real quickly. And I believe it is this weekend where one of the Paul brothers takes on Woodley, right? Am I right?
I want to say it's Jake, but I get the two of those idiots confused all the time.
Yeah, one of them is taking on the fucking MMA former champ, and I'm just hoping it ends the way it needs to end, where all this Paul hype is put to rest.
If he wins, I just don't know I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, to be honest. I just don't.
You know, that's it's like a point in my life where I'm like, if I want something to happen to like entertain me, that one's it. Like, just end this kid. You know what I mean?
This whole man's career.
Put an end to the misery that is Jake Paul or
Logan
or Logan Paul. Shooting over to the not MLB. I want to save that one off. NBA. I want to say RIP to the late and great Kobe Bryant. His birthday just passed. He would have been 43.
It's a shame.
And it's been about, I think, 2 or 3 days now since his birthday. And I've been seeing a lot of Kobe posts. There's a book out, which I definitely want to try to get my hands on and read.
There you go.
A lot of players, including guys like Allen Iverson, have come out and spoken about more things that we don't really know about Kobe and the guy that he is.
Right.
Just recently, it has come out that 8 unseen ever photos, digital photos, something like that, is being sold and auctioned off for some type of charity. It's never before seen Kobe photos. They're in black and white.
Okay.
So that's amazing that they're doing that. Kobe, I seen a take today on Sports Me where get a bucket. If no one has heard of him, get a bucket. He's a big basketball guy. He put out there just tributing to Kobe. who's possibly the greatest shooting guards of this time right now, like active. And I kind of shot off in a little tangent. And I was like, you know what? I don't know about this time right now as a shooting guard, but I know all time, the greatest shooting guards of all time is hands down three guys that I can pick off my head, which is Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and AI.
That's fair. That's fair. I can get behind that.
You know, staying in the NBA, and once again, RIP Kobe. You know, Jared Dudley, a good old Game Point Live.
You gotta leave that man alone.
Good old me and him had a nice little battle. I roasted him. I roasted Ghost. Ghost doesn't even want to deal with me no more because I roasted his ass. Good old Game Point Live.
Well with others.
Jared Dudley is joining Jason Kidd's staff on the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
He's I think played for the Mavericks. So he's just coming off of being in the league, winning a chip with the Lakers 2 years ago. Last year was his last season. Now he's hanging it up and going into coaching.
Okay. Good for him.
Sticking with the NBA, the New York Knicks, his name is so weird. Noel, is having a whole lawsuit against Rich Paul and Clutch. What's it called? Clutch Sports. For $58 million lost earnings. From what I'm seeing in this, and it's weird. Apparently, Clutch Sports is filing a grievance that Noel hadn't paid a $200,000 in commission on a 1-year contract. Noel claims that there's a breach in fiduciary duties. It's weird because Rich Paul, who's also the agent for guys like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, he blew up as an agent.
Right.
And this is not the first and only time that we've seen players also have an issue with the guy.
Right.
I don't think it'll end. I think I'm very fishy about that Rich Paul guy. I feel like he's done things that were very bendy breaky.
Right. Well, and if enough players have a problem with you, right, it's not the players, it's you. If there's enough people saying the same thing, it starts to look true.
So it's just a little funky to me. Shooting over to the NCAA real quick. When it comes to the football, there's been a lot of talk right now with the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12. I'm not huge in college football. I realize I figured I just bring it up.
Right. I haven't paid enough attention right now. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, I'm not huge into college football. I've just been seeing a lot of talk on it. Teams jumping conferences and new environments happening with these teams that don't want to stay in the conferences they've been in, whether they were bigger conferences or smaller conferences, how that'll shake up college football. College football is a thing where, especially now, at least for me, it's very, I would say, like, unpredictable.
In a way, it is. Like, the business of it is very unpredictable. Like Oklahoma and Texas leaving, to go to the SEC, that kind of thing is unpredictable. Notre Dame being the only independent football program in the nation, playing with the ACC last year, those kinds of things are unpredictable. I'll give you that. But for the most part, like if you're talking about like college playoffs and who's going to make the national championship and stuff like that, those teams are pretty much set in stone. It's going to be some like combination of Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, maybe Clemson. You know what I mean? It's going to be the same names that we're seeing over and over and over again.
Which is why I really don't like college football. Like people are like, oh, you know, college football is better than the NFL. Well, at least in the NFL, all 32 teams have a chance to win the Super Bowl. In college football, it's only 4 teams out of hundreds of teams that'll always get the chance to win, no matter how good your team does.
Now that I agree with. I mean, every now and then you'll get these random, like Boise State back when they beat Ohio State in like the Fiesta Bowl and pulled off, you know, the Statue of Liberty and the crazy trick plays and stuff. Every now and then you'll get something along those lines. Auburn will sometimes make a play, but really you can count on one, maybe 1.5 hands the amount of teams that really have a shot at the college football playoffs. Notre Dame always has a fucking chance, and then they just break my hearts consistently. So yeah, but it's I like college football from the aspect of the speed of the game is different, and it gives you kind of like scouting for, you know, who your team could pick up. But yeah, it's not hyper competitive in the ways that you would think the NFL, like, you know what I mean, like the NFL is. So
yeah. I mean this season now with the changing of certain teams leaving certain conferences and stuff, it is going to be a huge change this season. I don't think it's going to be the hugest change when it comes to the teams that end up going into that college playoff scenario.
Right.
Like you said, it's always the same teams. It's always like no matter what the change is, those teams are going to be those teams that always stay in the top of the echelon of college football.
Right. Well, I mean, just to put it bluntly, I mean, in order to make the college football, there's 4 playoff spots. You have to be perfect. And unless you're like Alabama, then you can lose one game. And it has to be very, very close and against a very, very good opponent. But other than that, you have to be perfect to make the playoffs, to even be in consideration. Whereas if you play in the NFC East, you can have an 8-9 record, a 9-8 record, and make the fucking playoffs because you won your division.
It's just weird because then there's those teams that, you know, in college where, yeah, they're not playing the most elite, talented group of college teams out there, but they'll go out there and have an undefeated season, and they don't even get blinked, looked at, even sniffed at for even a chance.
Yep.
Considered for that college playoffs position.
Yep. And you know, it's crazy because I would love to see the smaller teams get a chance, but you know, there's not so much dichotomy in college football that there is in the NFL. Like any given Sunday, right? That's a real phrase that happens in the NFL, right? You'll see the Jets last year beat the Rams for no fucking reason whatsoever. There was no way that the Jets beat the Rams, and then they do. There is no way that the Washington football team led by Taylor Heineke almost beats Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. You know what I mean? There's no way that these and underdogs, Nick Foles and the Eagles beat Tom Brady and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Eli Manning did it twice. There's any given Sunday is a real phrase that means something in the NFL. There is no any given Saturday in college football. If Alabama is playing fucking if they're playing Syracuse, if Alabama is playing insert not top 10 team here, it's a fucking wash. It's going to be 60-3 every time. Yeah. 10 times out of 10, 11 times out of 10, it's going to be a complete fucking wash. There is no hope on God's green earth, you know, that they lose against a nobody team. I said before that Boise State pulled off a win against Ohio State. Well, that was not in a regular, there was in a Fiesta Bowl and like a complete outlier that proves the fucking rule, because I dare you to show me a team as dominant as Alabama losing to fucking Boise State or Appalachian State. I mean, cut me some slack here. You know what I'm saying? So there's not, unfortunately, college football just, there's these guys who are good, and then there's these guys who play football for fun. And
Yeah.
that's
It's like
the
you either go to Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre
Auburn.
Dame, Auburn, uh, um,
I'll
uh,
give you Wisconsin for like
Penn
linemen,
State, you
Oregon.
know, or you're just playing to fill the roster.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Because there needs to be something else other than 5 teams on a Saturday. I hear you.
So I get it. Shooting over to the MLB now is very, very interesting. I love it. We are coming down to the wire. We have less than, I believe, 40 games to the season. And
Love it.
once again, it is great, great, great to be a Yankee fan.
Love it.
Absolutely fucking amazing. Because, I mean, and no one believes me. I mean, I'm 29 years old, going on 30, and I've seen it year in year happen to everyone and hurt everyone's feelings. Where fuck the Yankees, they start off shitty, they're horrible, they're not gonna make the playoffs, and then when it's coming down to the wire, it's like holy fucking shit. The Yankees are like pretty much leading the league and front running to possibly win the World Series once again. So,
And they're on a 10-game win streak, right?
For all you, what was that?
I said they're on a 10-game win streak, right?
Oh yeah, for all you Yankee fans out there, or Yankee haters, I should say, we called it. We were patient. We sat back. The true ones kept saying that the season doesn't start to at least the All-Star break. And after the All-Star break, we would not be surprised if we took over. Just be patient. The Red Sox are a fluke. The Houston Astros, we are not afraid of. And we've proven it. We started off super shitty. We were 9 games back after the All-Star break. And little do you know, the Yankees are now tied with the bad Houston Astros. You know what I mean? For second in the American League, they own the top wild card spot right now by about 2.5 games.
Something you said a while ago, and I keep clinging to this in every argument with a sports me Red Sox fan that we come across, is I just lost. I'm going to have to edit this part because there it is. The argument that I come across that I remember from you is that when the Red Sox swept the Yankees in, June, that they won 6 games in the entire month, swept the Yankees, won all 6 games, and they were only up by 9. I remember Super Dave, James, they were running their mouths, and they're, you guys, Ghost was running his mouth in the Astros camp telling us, the Yankees suck.
They were 7-0 in us at that point. They 7-0 us in 7 straight games.
Right, that's what it was, 7 games. And I remember you were just like, bro, okay, I'll give it to you. You beat us by 7. You beat us straight 7 games. I'll give that to you. But just know, if the Yankees had ever swept you, whenever the Yankees do sweep you for 7 straight fucking games, we're up 19 games, not up 9. You guys swept us 7 straight games and are only up 9 games. I remember that shit coming out of your mouth with such motherfucking confidence. And here we are, standing above the Red Sox, tied with the Astros.
And we're 7-10 right now in the season. Like, remember, they 7-0'd us. They were up 7-0 in the series in the season. We are now 7-10 against them this season.
I love it.
With 3 more games coming up toward the end of the season.
I love it.
We could potentially be 10-10.
I love everything about it. And 10-10 sounds like a mediocre split, but like you said, being down 7-0 or 0-7, I guess from the Yankees' perspective in the series to come back 10-10 or God forbid 13-7. Jesus Christ. See, and I've said it from the beginning, and I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some oh my god Yankees fan, blah 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 blah. I'm a casual baseball fan. I'm a casual Yankees fan, but I will pat myself on the back because I was standing there with you the entire fucking time. Relax. You guys are talking baseball, and it's been 20 games into the season. Shut up. You're talking about nothing right now.
You buy rings. You do this. You really? Because the only teams I see buying rings right now is the LA Dodgers.
Yankees going to the World Series, baby.
How the LA Dodgers went out and brought Max Scherzer and brought Mookie Betts and brought all these guys to come over to win the chip.
Yeah, because Yankees fans live rent-free in these people's heads, man. The Yankees, it could be, and we've talked about this before, it could be a battle on the Padres and Dodgers, and someone's got to be like, well, they're not the fucking Yankees, so they suck. They're not the fucking Yankees, so they must be good.
And the Yankees made some great moves. Anthony Rizzo, the Yankees lineup, and this is the thing with them now. They're all hitting at the right time. They're all hitting together.
This is when it matters.
Now they're putting up 10-plus runs a game.
This is when it matters. Getting hot at this part of the season is always what matters. Look at every team that's won the World Series in the history of ever. When do they get hot? End of the season.
And like I said, right now, we're, I think, 4.5 games behind Tampa for the AL East and number 1 in the AL League. We're tied with Houston for the second in the AL League. And we're 2.5, I think 3 games up on the number 1 wild card spot.
I love it. I love it.
21-5 since the All-Star break, and we haven't lost a game since the Field of Dreams. It's so ironic. Since the Field of Dreams game when we lost 9-8 on that walk-off to the White Sox, we haven't lost a game.
This is honestly, I'm sure it's better for
baseball is full of superstitions.
It really is, though. I'm sure this feeling is better for a devout Yankees fan like yourself, but this is honestly my favorite part because as a casual fan, I hear all the bullshit all the time, and I tell people I'm a casual and oh, you're just saying that because the Yankees suck. The Yankees are good, and I'm still saying I'm a casual. Just telling you what I am. I don't devoutly follow this, but now I get to sit back the entire time and be like, hey, the casual fan's here to talk shit because you wouldn't shut the fuck up and leave me alone all season. You had all this dumb shit to say, and I told you, relax, come talk to me at the end of the season. Well, I'm here. Where you guys at? I can't find nobody.
The craziest part is no matter whether the Yankees end the season as the number 1 wild card, the number 2 wild card, or end up trumping Tampa Bay and winning the division, no matter what, they have to eventually play either the White Sox or Tampa Bay in the first round, either the Red Sox or Tampa Bay in the first round, either the Red Sox or Tampa Bay in the second round, and no matter what, the ALCS will come down to Houston. So once again, it comes down to most likely Yankees versus Houston to go to the World Series.
Wouldn't that be the fucking revenge game of a century? Wouldn't that be a revenge game of the... I'm sorry, you can call me petty. We've already talked about how I'm not meant for major league sports, not only because of my lack of athleticism, but because of my lack of mentality. First pitch is going right at people's heads. I'm getting ejected on the first fucking... If that winds up happening Houston and the Yankees play the Astros...
Hands down, Houston has the easiest way to the World Series because no matter what, the wild card team plays the AL East division winner.
Right.
Who's the number 1 team in the league.
Right.
So whether it's the Yankees or Tampa Bay, the Red Sox or the Yankees, whoever wins that matchup plays Tampa Bay.
Right.
And then they end up playing Houston. So no matter, Houston gets the easiest trip because they only have to play the 1 team.
Right.
And then they're sitting and waiting.
Right. It doesn't matter. We'll still mop their asses. What else you got for me? Or is this the end of Around the World of Sports, sir?
Before we end Around the World of Sports, big shout out to Yadier Molina. He's signing his 19th season with the Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals, on a 1-year deal. He's still an amazing catcher. He's a Hall of Fame catcher, one of the greatest arms, fastest releases I've ever seen. Still a great bat. He actually played with his brother. His brother retired a few years ago. 19 seasons. Not many people get to play that many games. And he's actually spent over 2,000 games as a catcher, most for any catcher for one team.
Oof, that hurts my knees just thinking about it.
I was about to say that not many catchers get to play over 10 seasons. Not many catchers get to play over 10 seasons, and not many catchers get to play over 10 seasons still playing catcher. Usually they go to first base,
right?
DH. Like
he's on that Tom Brady regiment. He's doing something that like eternal youth, man. Good for him. I like Yachty. I do.
You know what I mean? Over 2,000 games on that crouch. He must walk around on that crouch just.
Yo, for real. On his off days, he just doesn't move. Like they wheel him into the stadium to preserve his knees for as much as possible. God bless him, Jesus.
And that is
best Yachty on that, man.
Fact. And that is all I got for around the world of the sports.
And just like we promised as I slur the beginning of this, we've got our trivia question of the week. As we've noted before, it's been a little bit. We've taken a little time off. I'm sorry, I was having babies and shit. But we are back with the trivia question of the week. Hector has one himself in the world of baseball, and I have one. We've got a twofer for you guys. I have one in the world of the NFL. So, Hector, would you like to go first or second? I will give you the choice.
I will go first because it's usually a football question, so we'll save that one for last.
All right, you go ahead with yours, sir.
So, it is a baseball question for you guys. As we know, the Yankees are on a 10-game winning streak. I believe, I want to say the second 10-game winning streak the Yankees had gotten this season. They went into the matchup against the Braves, who were also on a 9-game winning streak. So it was the first time in, I want to say
1901, I think, in like 100 years.
Where two teams were on a 9-game winning streak going into a matchup. Now, the Yankees, like I said, 10-game winning streak. This is the 31st time that they have gotten a 10-game winning streak. Who leads the MLB for most 10-game winning streaks of all time?
So just in case you didn't catch it the first time, who leads the MLB for most 10-game winning streaks of all time? That's actually a super good question. I refuse to answer because we already talked about it. But I have to say, I have to pat myself on the back because I did get it right. Now,
you did.
To switch it over to the NFL question, what record does Jerry Rice hold for his career? So, like, what career record does he hold?
And I won't answer this because we've already spoken about this, and I could pat myself in the back because I also got it right.
We're good at this, guys. And no, for all of you who think we cheat, we do not give each other the answers. It's actually very interesting, and like 30 minutes of discussion usually happen around.
Most of the times, that's just like, hey, this is the question I got. And I'm like, and I'll spit out an answer. And he's like, dude, how? Bro, like, for real. And I'm like, dude, I just sit here and I analyze. And I'm like, multiple choice. Always go with C.
He somehow puts C as always the right answer, and he makes his own multiple choice because generally I don't give him one. Like tonight, I did not give him one, but he had a very good logic when he explained it out for me. So, what record does Jerry Rice hold for his career? And for bonus points, who leads the MLB for most 10-game winning streaks for all time? Ciao. Oh my
No,
god.
I want to start this so I can shit on you.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting, boy. I'm waiting. Oh, I'm gonna shit on you, boy. I'm gonna shit on you.
So we should probably end the episode talking about the Jets, but I just can't. I can't. I won't. I can't. I have to talk about the Jets. There's some bad here to talk about. There's not good news, but I'm not going to lie. This is the most out of character you will ever
Stop
see.
it. We keep saying it. Don't ride the training camp hype. Don't ride the practice hype. And then second of all, you're riding the hype of someone who you
I did, but now I'm watching him play NFL games. And I don't know, and I'll put some credence here, some like earthiness to this. It could be coaching, right? It could just be the scheme that's he's playing in. It could just be what I like to see. The coaching is what I like to see, and it's working out well and making him look good. But Zach Wilson looks legit, bro. I've run him through the mud here. I will admit it. I have run Zach Wilson through the fucking mud. And I've been like, yo, why the fuck did they draft this guy? I don't fucking understand. You could have had Justin Fields. That's the guy I wanted. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I will stand on my shit. And now I get it. It's preseason, and he's played against a lot of not starters, but he has looked very, very good. Like, the stats are okay, right? Whatever. But he has looked
100%. His
very good.
Has just been 9 for 11 for 100 and something yards and 2 TDs.
Yep.
In his first game, he was still fucking 7 for 11 or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, not a lot of yards and no TDs, but
those TDs came to his tight end. And in the second game, when he went 6 for 9, he spread the ball around to 4 or 5 different receivers. The things that I'm seeing is that he is moving through progressions, watching his footwork, watching the offensive line block for him, which, by the way, Rich Cimini, how dare you go after Mekhi Becton? I hope you see this. I hope you hear this. Mekhi Becton's been a fucking animal, and Cimini has been shitting. I'm sure that Cimini is a Patriots fan. But anyway...
Well, Mekhi Becton in defense is not healthy right now and is dealing with some injuries, and
you did say earlier,
and some physical weight issues that I guess they want him to shed a couple more pounds or something.
They say that, but it's not like he's out there looking slow. He's out there throwing pancakes everywhere. He is the
stay healthy, man. He needs to stay healthy.
Now that is the concern, is we got to make sure he stays healthy, because to kind of go off the trails here, we have had some injury concerns.
Vera Tucker only becomes a super force if Mekhi Becton is on the field.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Vera Tucker is good on his own, but he becomes great with someone next to him that is great.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's one of those things where everything links together and just becomes that much better. And speaking of injuries, we've had Gerard Davis recently go down, and now he's out for 2 months?
2 months with an ankle injury. I believe he was going to be a starting linebacker.
Yup, he was. We've got Carl Lawson, who's down for the year with a ruptured Achilles. Real quick promotion. I write, by the way, so go check out that article that I wrote on how Carl Lawson will affect the Jets defense in thelastwordonsports.com. Search Carl Lawson or search my name. But anyway, sorry, I just had to give that quick plug. But yeah, Carl Lawson going down is a huge blow. Because that's a big pass rush right there that we needed. We don't have the world's best corners, and pass rush is the way to cover bad corners.
And if you look at the contracts that we've given out over the years, this is 3 massive contracts over the Jets over maybe the last 10 years where they make all this money, but they're not on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was what Carl
Him,
Lawson's is like
Jay
3.
Mosley, Tremaine Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
and Lawson's was what 3 years for 48 million, 47 million, something to that effect, with like 38 guaranteed, somewhere in the ballpark of those numbers. So it hurts. It hurts. It hurts your pocket, and it hurts your team when he's not on the field. You know what I mean? I will say I did see some. Now again, it's against second stringers. It is the preseason. I did like a lot of the play out of Brandon Eccles. He had an interception in the Packers game. Uh, I just like the way they've been playing. I think overall, the team does look good. Like I was kind of saying with Zach Wilson, I don't know if my love for Wilson is coming from what I'm seeing in him or if it's just what I'm seeing in the coaching. That the
no,
coaching
you're
is making a
becoming what
scheme
you
that's
hate.
so good.
You're writing the training camp and practice hype. That's what you're doing. You're becoming what you hate.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I know I got these scars.
But Corey Davis,
Jets fan.
and another thing is I have to fucking eat my words again. Everybody was telling me, you yourself included, were saying, look, Corey Davis is going to be good with the Jets. He's already formed a
He's
quick
the number one
connection.
receiver to fucking Zach Wilson so far. The
connection
has been there.
Yup, and I sat there and said, I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm not really here for it. Corey Davis has been out there putting on clinics with Zach Wilson, bro. They've been great together, man. Like,
it's been Corey Davis with a little bit of Keelan Cole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's been hitting his tight ends. Now,
isn't that a beautiful thing to see in New York, hitting the fucking tight ends?
The one that gets me, that it's been we brought it up before. Excuse me. Mims has dropped in that depth chart. He's kind of been forgotten. He doesn't fit the scheme that is being run. He was meant for the last regime. I know Robert Salah is we give everybody the shot type of guy, but if they're smart, with Lawson being out, I'd use him as a chip to move and find someone to replace that DN position.
That's fair. It's so hard because I like Mims. It's just so hard to give up on a guy that has his height and speed and talent, man. But you're right. He has fallen down the depth charts. You know, we've seen, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis.
Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. We got Jamison Crowder. We still got Herndon at the tight end position. And who's our other tight end?
Tyler Kroft. He caught the 2 touchdown passes.
Tyler Kroft is a great receiving tight end with the Buffalo Bills, who now we have. I think that's a great pickup. Mims has just been lost in the sauce. So
we still have Braxton Berrios, right? We still have
Braxton Berrios, who gets a lot of first team reps.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to look at a guy like Mims and say, sorry, bud, we just can't find a place for you here. You know what I mean? Like, and I hear you. Like, if there's a guy like that has value in any offense. So he is a chip that you can move to cover that, Carl Lawson loss. But it's just hard because I like Mims. I like Mims a lot. He was supposed to be more, but in more ways than one. But no, honestly, man, I am becoming the thing that I hate. I really am buying into the hype of the offseason. I'm starting to think crazy fucking things that the Jets' floor is 7 wins. That's their floor.
I am standing on this hill. I said what I said since the season ended and they drafted Zach Wilson. They're gonna go at least 9-8.
Man, I see
9-8.
I don't disagree, man. I'm starting to buy into the hype. I'm starting to buy into the maybe they can contend for a wild card.
Potential wild card spot.
I think they could get it. I think they can, man. I
see Michael Carter being the legitimate number 1 running back because he's been getting a lot of first reps. He's been getting a lot of great carries, like 9 rushes, 50-something yards, in just preseason games. Like,
Yeah, man. It all looks like it's coming together. The injuries on defense have been just killer because they've been starters in key positions, but if next man up mentality can take over here, we've still got Rankins and Quinnen Williams on the interior. We've still got Mosley.
Hey,
We've still
you
got
never
May.
know. Maybe we reach back out to the Giants. We get Leonard Williams back.
Yeah. Who know? Maybe, man.
Resurgence with his original New York team.
Maybe. You never know, man. I'm liking it though. I'm liking what I see with the New York Jets. I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to say crazy things like I bet you they'll win 10 games. Stupid shit, bro.
Don't jinx my Zach Wilson now because you just jump on the train now. What you gonna do? You gonna draft him?
Don't worry about what I do. Don't worry about it. You can worry about it on Saturday. All right.
Don't worry about me.
So that's all we have on the Jets. We'll come back with the Jaguars, guys. Let us know what you think about the Jets, man. If you don't, you got to watch the games. But we'll be right back with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know it's not always the sexy thing to talk about, but I do want to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. We had some. What'd you say?
I said, "Oh yes, please," because I got some great news for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
But do you want to start off with your news? Or you don't want to do my spiel? You tell me.
No, you do your spiel. Continue.
Okay. So, unfortunately, we have news coming out of Jaguars camp that Travis Etienne, their first-round running back, is injured potentially for the entire season. I mean, it's not been confirmed. That I understand that it's the whole season, but it's pretty much the writing's on the wall with a foot injury. Yeah, so it's a big blow. He got hurt in Monday night's game. So it's obviously you don't want to see anybody get hurt. You want to see these men make their bread and get their money. But this is a big blow to their team as a whole. What does this mean? First of all, my question is, what does this mean for the team? How does this injury directly impact the Jaguars?
Well, first off, I want to say, coming out of Clemson, he's had a previous foot injury. So right. I was I've said it and I stand what I said before. I thought the Jets were going to pick him up with the 23rd pick. I wanted him. He's a great guy on the field and when healthy. But I knew that with this little ankle injury coming out of college that it could potentially be more. And it ends up being, again, the same foot. It's some type of ankle injury where he needs some surgery and it's season ending. Now, when it comes to him missing on the field, obviously he's a go-to and a familiar face for Trevor Lawrence. So that's going to be a big blow there. He doesn't have a little, I guess you can say, security blanket. At the same time, he was supposed to be used as a running back, flex, utility, wide receiver type of role. So that's going to be missing. But on the other side of that, and I stated it earlier today, Robinson gets the chance to, already has the chip on the shoulder because, Etienne was coming to pretty much steal his job.
Right.
But as a 1,000-yard rusher last year with the chip on his shoulder, he gets to prove without any interference why he is that number one back, why he's going to be another 1,000-yard rusher. Again, I said what I said and try to solidify why he's that back.
So you don't think that on the field the Jags are really going to be hurting too much as far as like pure running backs go? James Robinson comes out.
Pure running backs, no. I think James Robinson has proven himself to be a top 10 back in the league.
Fair enough. Now talk to me about this injury as it pertains to like fantasy football. Obviously, for those who have had their drafts already, whoever drafted Travis Etienne, hopefully you didn't draft him too high and didn't burn that pick. And for those coming up on a draft, obviously you're not going to draft them unless it's something like Dynasty towards the tail end and you feel you can get good value for him. So talk to me about his injury in terms of like, what does this mean for waiver wire pickups? What does this mean for, obviously you think James Robinson is going to skyrocket in value. What about the backup Carlos Hyde? Talk to me in terms of fantasy, man.
Now, this is where I said this is great news for me. Because in Who's Tribunal Fantasy Football League, I have to play Ghost, Yo, Hugh Hefner, week 1, who ultimately drafted Trevor Lawrence and ETN as a little combo piece. Now ETN is out. He hurried up and dropped him, picked up Carlos Hyde. He already has Robinson as well.
I think you have Robinson, dude.
Do I have Robinson?
I think so, because I went and checked as soon as I got the news, and I'm pretty sure it said Hector said what he said has him.
I'm about to check right now, actually.
Because I wanted to pick as soon as I saw the news come across. I went to go snag him.
You have him. Yes, I do.
Yep.
But he did. Yo eventually dropped ETN, picked up Carlos Hyde. And
I get it.
And he expects that Robinson and Hyde will go 50-50 on shares. And I straight up told him there's no fucking way.
So you think it's going to be more of a like
Robinson's going to show why he's that fucking back. He's going to be run heavy. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a play action. He's going to be able to. They're going to switch the game up until they get 100% again.
Fair enough. So you think James Robinson socks just and nothing for Carlos Hyde?
Carlos Hyde will get his touches.
Okay.
He's a bruiser. He's reliable. He doesn't get hurt. But James Robinson is that guy. He's going to be another 1,000. I promise you, he's going to be another 1,000-yard rusher again.
Okay. So you're going to draft him in your league on Saturday.
So on Saturday, see, that's the thing. People do their drafts, too early. That's why I put it 2 weeks before the season. Now we got shit like this. Like, I guarantee you, I was looking into getting ETN this Saturday. I'm not going to lie. I was hoping to try to pull him in the 4th or 5th round, possibly. And a whole turn of the games. Now look at Who's League, where Ghost had drafted him. He has to change his whole fucking outlook on shit.
Right. Especially if you drafted him early, man. That's got to hurt the value of that spot. You drafted him.
I got to make sure I go on. I give myself a good fucking draft order to pick in, and I'll steal everybody that I want for the league.
I have to go in one of my other leagues that's already had their draft and see if Robinson's available. It's a podcaster league that I'm a part of, and I went 0 running back strategy in a 16 team league. I made a lot of bets that I don't know I can pay on. Not like monetary bets, but I went no running back in a 16 league team.
I don't know how you can pull that off. Like, how do you even pull off not even getting a running back? I would have accidentally drafted a running back.
It was a lot of effort. It was a lot of effort. I just couldn't see myself drafting certain guys. But now I'm going to go look for James Robinson. Hopefully some of these guys are in Australia, so I'm hoping like maybe the news hasn't hit them yet or some shit. But speaking of game time, did you happen to watch Monday night's game with the Jaguars?
No, I have not been able to watch any games right now. I'm not going to even lie. This is the first time I get to say this. I got rid of cable, so I need to find some places to stream and watch sports because I have nothing right now.
I got you.
Well, I don't even know what to use right now.
I mean, you could probably go on like Reddit and find like subreddits and shit where you can find links and stuff. Or NFL Network has their Game Pass where it gives you everything but local games for $100 for the year. And Game Pass, you can go back and watch old games for without the commercials and stuff. So, but anywho, the reason I ask is because Trevor Lawrence looked like doo-doo. He did not look.
Gardner Minshew actually played better, but had an intel, and Trevor Lawrence had. So it was Trevor Lawrence was 14 for 23 with a touchdown, a sack for 9 yards, while Gardner Minshew was 13 for 23, but had a pick and a sack. Like,
I appreciate the stats. I love me some stats. Not really, but I appreciate those stats.
But the QB ratings, it was like I wanted to say it was like a 73 to a 76 or some shit like that.
Right.
There's not really much of a difference between Master Jorts and Sunshine.
So should we? That brings me to a question. Since we're not seeing a huge difference between jorts and mustache and the next coming of Jesus Christ, should we be concerned about the next coming of Jesus Christ, or am I just living too much in the preseason world this year? Am I just like begging for Trevor Lawrence to be a bust so I could be right?
See,
And
I'm not on that point yet. I'm not at the point where I'm like, I mean, I was never a huge fan of Trevor Lawrence.
right,
I've always said like, I never seen the hype of why they're saying like this guy's the next Peyton Manning or the
right,
next Tom Brady or the next, well, not Tom Brady, but like Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick, anomaly in the fucking baseline.
shit.
Peyton Manning, he was the #1 pick. He was the fucking god coming out of college and shit. Like this guy's supposed to be the next coming of that, and I just never, I can never see it. So going into the NFL, I'm just like, I do believe he'll have a very good career, potentially Hall of Fame career, because now anyone makes the Hall of Fame depending on like how their stats end up. But because I'm point blank period back in the day, it was a lot harder to get in.
That's fair.
I just don't believe it's going to be he's not going to be what people think. He's not going to be that guy that goes out and becomes the next Tom Brady and wins, 6 chips.
So you're saying that right now in preseason, it's too early to start freaking out one way or the other, but you're not entirely surprised by this performance.
I think he's going to be a very middle of the pack quarterback this year.
Okay.
You're not going to hear much about him.
So do we put much faith in the quarterback battle that's going? Let me rewind. In the quarterback battle that's going on in Jacksonville, like Urban Meyer's
There's no quarterback battle. It's Trevor Lawrence, and what's going to end up happening is I would say around week 5, he possibly, breaks a nail, or gets some hair pulled out of his head because he gets tackled too hard and cries, and he misses about 2 or 3 weeks where Master Jorts comes onto the field.
Master Jorts. Is that a playoff of Master Chief? Master Jorts?
It had nothing to do with Master Chief, but it sounds very sensei and kung fu-ish, so
I'm with it. I'm not against it. I'm all for this. I love Master Jorts. That's my next line in my notes is, should it be Minshew Mania time in Jacksonville? So I'm about to change it. Should it be Master Jorts time in Jacksonville? Should we be calling for that?
No, they're gonna ride the Trevor Lawrence wave, and it is a shame because I do believe Master Jorts has proven himself enough to be a solid starter, and with enough time in the right system and enough effort put into him, a couple years to put into him to be a starter, he can be a really great starter in the league. He just is he was in a bad situation in Jacksonville, which ends up being now he's behind the #1 pick in the draft. Like,
who has more potential to you, Minshew or Lawrence?
as of right now, I'm gonna say Lawrence has the more potential just because he's like fresh in the league. Minshew's already been like 2 or 3 years. Minshew has the experience, and like I said, if you can put him in the right area right now, him being 3 or 4 years in the league, you put him in the right. Like, what I think when I think Master Jorts, you put him behind Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Okay.
You put Master Jorts behind fucking the new host of Jeopardy, and I promise you, Gardner Minshew becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback.
I can get behind that. I just don't think he's been given the opportunity. And I guess this is a follow-up question is, will anybody get the opportunity in Jacksonville? Is Jacksonville just so terrible that that Trevor Lawrence could be the next coming of Christ, but since he's playing in Jacksonville, we're just never going to get to see that?
No, not under Urban Myers.
I don't disagree with that. I don't.
Jacksonville, I think it's Urban Myers.
Really?
I've never been a huge fan of Urban Myers.
So yeah, I don't see much coming out of him this year, to be honest with you. There's too many new pieces for me to feel good about saying they're gonna be good for the next couple of years.
I'm not gonna lie, I see 5-12 from Jacksonville.
I was going in 4-13, so I can agree with that. 5-12, 4-13 in that range. I don't see them improving ridiculously. I don't see them. I mean, the AFC South
I wholeheartedly put it on coaching, not the team. I put it on coaching.
Fair enough. Because you do have some decent pieces now. The offensive line in Jacksonville is just garbage.
I promise you give me that lineup with anybody other than the Urban Myers coaching staff, that team can easily be a playoff team.
Really? That's a bold statement.
Yes, that team can be a playoff team.
That is a bold statement. I don't know if I'm going to counter that or agree with that. I'm just going to let that be a bold statement.
Or anything, but they can be a wild card spot.
Okay, I see you.
Be a wild card spot.
I see you. Well, with that being said, guys, that's all we have for this week. Let us know what you think about the Jags. You can find us at all the right places on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, at Breaking Down the Tape on Twitter, at BDTTS, BDTT Sports. Can't even say my own Twitter handle. Me personally, you can find me at Papa Smurph NFL on Twitter. Follow, share. I don't know how many times I can say that to you guys because we love doing this. So yeah, that's all I got. Hector, hit him with it.
Like Zach said, follow, share. We're coming up on 700 on Facebook. We're coming up on almost 800 on Instagram. And I don't know how TikTok and
just over 600 on TikTok. Twitter is in the low 300s for both my personal and Breaking Down the Tape. So I'm not on Twitter as much as I should be. I try, but it's hard doing everything.
We're not doing bad.
Nah, not at all. Especially considering I just started Twitter like a month and a half, 2 months ago. So
on that note, if you don't know, now you know. I said what I said, bitches.
Said what I said.